Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Why American money is taking over English football.
The Premier League is
Soccer?
the pinnacle of club football. The theatre, the tension and the talent are unrivaled in a league which boasts nearly 2 billion followers worldwide. And yet...
Now, I'm not sure what would make you more miserable, being a Manchester United fan over the weekend or holding the stock this
Do
morning.
you know about this?
Loads of losses.
I know that like athletes, LeBron owns or used to own part of Liverpool.
Oh, he likes soccer?
I think
Or it's just
I think it's more of a business decision, or maybe he does like it. I don't know, but I do think it's more about the money.
If we look at the top 5 leagues of English
But I think the short answer is why American money is taking over English football, because listen, this produces money, it makes money, so that's why.
football, more than half of
Very
them are
popular
technically
sport,
insolvent.
popular
Just
leagues.
look at how many clubs in the Premier League lost money in 2023 to 2024. Only a handful of them actually managed to turn a profit.
I've had executives say to me, we're looking like behind the sofa, we're looking
I
everywhere to
remember
get,
him.
Where from?
I've had executives say
Where do you remember him from?
No.
to me, we're looking like behind the sofa, we're looking
He
everywhere
doesn't
to
look
get,
like the
you
guy
know,
from Croatia, from Zagreb.
No.
£2, dollars or whatever.
They're also looking overseas.
One of the things that English football clubs have started to realize on the backs of what's been learned here in America is that people are willing to pay for experience.
But some fans are worried they're being left behind.
To the corporates who are running our clubs and making the decisions, we are just customers and we can only be thought of in that way.
I think the people don't want this because I've been watching this TV show on Hulu, I believe, about how Ryan Reynolds and was the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Charlie Day?
Not the short one,
That's my
his
favorite
brother.
one. I don't know the other one.
Or brother or whatever. He's the other one, and how they bought a club in UK, and they're like trying to run it, turn a profit. The clubs in the UK is like very like personal, like people grew up there with the club, so it's like it's about the people. It's the town thing. It's not like a typical American business, like American sport club, where it's just about the money. So I feel like Americans buying in, they're raising the prices, they're taking that personalized experience away probably, and making it more about the money. So I don't
But
think that people are too happy about
They
it.
said the pubs are dying already.
Yeah.
So this kind of adds to it, maybe.
I don't know if it has to do with that. I think pubs are dying because people going out less.
As clubs
And this
explore
is
new
only
opportunities to keep
English
the money
football.
flowing
Yes,
in,
English.
does English football need greater American influence to keep it afloat?
Them too, actually.
Go back.
Money flowing in, does English football need greater American influence
Yeah, them too.
The one-
Wrexham, yeah, Wrexham. That's the name of the team.
Oh.
to keep
The
I
Ryan
know the name
Reynolds,
on the left.
Ryan Reynolds on the right, and the guy on the left is
afloat?
from Sunny in
And if so,
Philadelphia.
what might that mean
Wow,
for the
this is
future
not
of the
good for
beautiful
Ryan
game?
Reynolds. I think he's going through a lot. He's
What do you mean not good? I think they eventually turned it profitable.
did?
I think
Okay.
so.
Beating inside any English stadium's chest is something tribal, fueled by pints. But these days, match day means different things to different people.
inside.
And this, to this, and increasingly this, thanks to all
That's
the
a
money
big
being lost.
difference.
It's certainly
Yeah,
something
that's a
we've
big
seen in the United
difference.
States over the past 20, 30, even 40 years. When an old stadium is demolished and a new stadium is built, there's a huge premium placed on premium seating. That's because you can charge more for it.
They're also able to utilize the facilities better, so they get more sales of food and beverage at half time and all those kind of things. That isn't really possible with really old stadiums.
As new stadiums are built across the Premiership, there's a premium placed on proximity to the pitch.
This has led to the rise of tunnel clubs at Premier League venues. Here, fans are able to wine and dine, just meet.
Yeah,
That's
I
nice.
think nice for the rich, but for the regular people, that's not the experience that
Yeah,
you go there
that's true.
for.
You go outside and
Yeah.
what do you call the bleachers?
Away from top stars as they enter the arena. Kind of like an
Wow.
aquarium for footballers.
Getting you closer and closer to the action, that's an idea that's been long embraced in American sports, especially in the NFL.
While the concept was shaped in the US, Manchester City were the first to bring it to the Premier League. And now
That
they're
is
looking to
so
the next stage of the club's
interesting.
expansion.
A lot is happening. You see that the music arena, 23,000 music arena, they have 120 events a year. The football club has 40
But,
events a year.
Given
We feel
how
that
chaotic football is, I wouldn't think that they would have like champagne, wine. I would think they would still kind of keep it like a pub style a little bit.
Well, but that's what brings the money. It's the fancy stuff.
there is more demand
But
for more
that's not
capacity.
understanding
So
the
now we're expanding the
audience.
stadium to 60,000 seats.
So, well,
And now we're
apparently there
adding
are people
a
that are
hotel,
willing to pay
a
for
very
it.
big fan zone, restaurants.
That investment, worth hundreds of millions of pounds, is about turning City's home ground into a multi-purpose venue that's profitable all year round.
Tottenham Hotspur are a really good example because they also utilise their ground, so their new stadium has brought in a lot of commercial income from the tie-ins with the NFL. They are able to use the stadium far more than a few games a year that you would otherwise have.
Footballers sharing changing rooms with pop stars and quarterbacks was almost unthinkable a couple of decades ago. But as the Premier League transformed into a global brand, it grew in appeal to foreign investors looking for status, power, and influence.
Okay, those facilities is only for when it's like actual playing the sport. It's not like where they train, right?
No, I don't know.
Okay, same here. Like the arena is only for
For
playing, it's
yeah.
not training.
Mhm.
So where do they train here in
Training
Miami?
facility.
So where do they
Miami?
train in Miami? Yeah.
At the UM, I think.
Oh.
From next season, more than half the clubs in the league will either be fully or partially owned by US backers. Golf investors have heavily backed clubs too. And if you're a multi-billionaire or a petro-state, the Premier League club is actually a bit of a bargain. The average franchise in the NFL is valued at $5.9 billion. The NBA, $4.6 billion, while a Premier League club is valued at a relatively humble $1.5 billion. On the surface, the Premier League
So
and the
they
clubs
see
currently in it
opportunity
have
to grow it.
everything you could want
I
from a
think so.
franchise. So why the apparent discrepancy? One reason, wages.
When we did
Back in
the
2014,
the sport brings in soccer versus football. Soccer was more than football.
For athletes, they get paid more.
No,
Or
no.
what?
In terms of how much they generate.
I don't know. I don't
You
think we've
remember?
done. I don't think we've done
I
a video
thought we
like that.
did- what did
We
we
only
watch more?
did
Super Bowl
or World
the
Cup.
World Cup?
Yeah,
And
but
what
that
was
wasn't
it?
about the money. It was
So-
about who watched more.
Okay, but then what is it? It's World Cup? Watch
People,
more?
yeah, World Cup. Yeah.
Premier
I
League
wonder
clubs spent
what
about
respect
£2
is
billion
in
paying
English
players.
football.
In the 2022 to 2023 season, that number had doubled. Among the top revenue-generating English clubs, some spent as little as 42% of their income on player wages. For others, it's as much as 96%. But the overarching challenge to everything is the
So when
threat
you
of
decide,
relegation.
oh, I'm gonna open up a club, you decide like, just a random city. You just say, okay, my club's
I
gonna be.
don't think new clubs are getting open. These are all old clubs that have been there for years and
And
years and years.
What about Ryan Reynolds?
They
and
bought a club, they didn't-
bought-
yeah.
Oh.
Just ask Ted Lasso.
So the people sold out.
2 years ago, we played
Well, yeah, the club is going under, so they had to buy it.
so bad. We had to drop down from the Premier
Well, they
League
had to
to a
sell it.
lower league that was called
The championship.
See, that don't make sense.
Open leagues are those whereby at the end of the season, somebody gets promoted and a bunch of teams get relegated, which means they go to the league below. So it's not the same teams every year in the league. That's a big risk from an investment point of view.
No club is guaranteed to play in the Premier League, and it's this jeopardy which is central to the game. With the league comes a minimum of £120 million of broadcast rights, and these were the foundation of the modern Premier League.
It's a whole new ballgame. It was created in part out of envy. People associated with football saw what was going on in the United States and how much NFL teams were getting paid for media
In a
rights.
club, there's one team, or is it several teams in that club?
One team.
One team. Okay.
Back in the day,
So there's not
English
that many
football, you
teams.
couldn't see it on television nearly as much as you would think. They didn't want people staying at home instead of showing up to actually support their club. So they kept it off of television.
The league's deal with Sky Sports changed the game, transforming football into a prime-time event, much like the US. Fast forward to today, and the Premier League is one of the most watched competitions in the world, with matches reaching 900 million homes in more than 180 countries. This
used
is
to.
translated
Don't have
into
time right
massive
now.
revenue. Premier League clubs now bring in over €3.5 billion
It's a good
annually
time for
from
us. It's
TV
like Sunday
deals.
morning.
That's more than double the contracts in Spain's La Liga and Italy's Serie A. But if you're relegated out of the top tier, the broadcast cash all but disappears. In 2021, a group of teams tried to find a way around that.
Whatever happened to the Super League, Ed?
Don't get me started on the Super League. We don't have time for that.
Essentially, what that was a bunch of team owners, many of whom were American, looking to make revenue more predictable for their football clubs. And how are they going to do that? Kind of by getting rid of promotion and relegation.
And before it began, the idea had already collapsed after it proved unpopular with just about everyone.
How can it be right to have a situation in which you create a kind of cartel that stops clubs competing against each other?
Okay, so that didn't work. But the reality is that player wages are still increasing, revenue growth from TV deals has slowed, and no matter how well you did last year, you can still get relegated. These all affect the value of a club to an investor. But what can get lost amidst all this is a club's relationship with its customers, or fans,
that's what
as
I
they'd
was
rather be
alluding
called.
to.
As Premier League clubs focus on raising revenue, some supporters are left angry and exploited.
Fan groups are not happy. They're saying that they've affected the experience of people who've supported them for years and years.
Here, the
He
United
does kind of look like the guy from. He's not the same guy. He's not the same guy, but he kind of looks like the guy from Croatia. Yeah.
States, we long ago gave up on the idea that going to a professional football game is going to be affordable. That doesn't seem to be the case in England.
As a customer, I can change whatever supermarket I want to go to if I think one's cheaper than the other or has a better product. I'm not going to go and start supporting another team down the road if they start reducing ticket prices. That's just not how it works.
Fan protests at Manchester City and other clubs have had an impact. City says its new stand will be predominantly general admission seating, and manager Pep Guardiola emphasised the importance of the fans.
We need them desperately.
I remember looking
It's
at
quite
the
hard
price
for
here
clubs to
in Miami. It was like $20, but then now it changed when Messi, I think, took over.
Yeah, for the soccer. Yeah.
Season ticket prices, which is why I think they've gone for hospitality. That's a different audience. There's no one putting up banners saying, you put the price up by too much.
And it's not likely to change either. Next season, over half the teams will be under American influence, just short of the 14 needed to approve major rule changes. For a glimpse into the future of the Premier League, the 2026 World Cup final in New Jersey will have a halftime show to rival the Super Bowl. Less this, more this. But there's still a way to go.
The Americans have been here since 2005 and it's still losing money.
My biggest fear really is that in a few years' time, we just become some sort of international faceless corporate product.
There are some major cultural differences between...
Interesting. Yeah, I don't want them to remove relegation. I think the relegation aspect is really cool and it makes the game more competitive. Honestly, I feel like relegation should be introduced here in the States, which is not going to happen. But, you know, I hope they don't remove it, because if they do remove it, I think it's going to lose part of the just culture overall.
Between the US and the UK and Europe when it comes to sport, particularly football. This is something seeped in the fabric of society in many ways.
You can only Americanize the Premier League to a point. There is a certain element to it that simply can't be commodified.
But on the other hand, I do think it's good for the players. It's getting Americanized because, you know, more revenues, more salaries are rising, so everybody gets paid more.
Can I see the comments? This is not good for David. What was his name?
Beckham?
David Beckham, because he's trying to do something like that here in the States, so he's gonna have to compete with them, no? Because the whole point is the appeal is that he's gonna have the money to pay the players to come over to play here in the States.
American owners have already ruined 3 of Premier League's big 6. Leave us alone. I think one of the main reasons we love the Premier is because it's not Americanized. Next thing you know, we'll have timeouts every 5 minutes and throw-in will be brought to you by Pepsi, and the corner kicks will be brought to you by Starbucks. Don't bring your system here, just leave us alone. American investors, owners are the worst thing that can happen. But the thing, like, I understand the fans are angry, but guys, you have to understand why Americans are coming in, because the British owners, they can't afford it, that the club will go bankrupt if they don't sell it to American owners. The pockets are just deeper. They can afford the loss for a little bit longer until they figure shit out, and their way of figuring shit out is, guess what, bring in more money with the stuff that you guys don't like. So it's just unsustainable business for somebody who has finite amount of money. If someone is real rich and like really wants to preserve it, I guess they could do it, just keep losing money. But it does seem the problem is that the clubs are losing money, so it's...
I think they're losing money now because people are thinking to boycott now. But that accelerates the
I feel like
process.
they always been losing money, so it's just like people are selling now to Americans because, as I said, the pockets might be deeper, so they can afford the loss and figure shit out, do the American way to make money. Because and nobody's selling because Americans can't force themselves onto the market. They can't create new teams, so they can't just like, oh, let me make an American team because I want. No, somebody has to sell it, and the people are selling it because it's not profitable. The old way of doing things. So I understand that it's the traditional way, and that's how you guys want it. I get, but it might get to a point where you might not have any football because just nobody can afford to run a club. So it's not that's not a solution either. So
But it'd be interesting to see how the American investors transform it to generate more revenue.
well, we are seeing they're building the stadiums. You saw the private lounges, the luxury
Yeah, but they haven't got the
tickets.
money back for it yet.
Well, certain clubs have become profitable. Man City was one of the profitable, I believe. There was a graph that showed. Hold up, I think it was early somewhere. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, this graph that shows. So basically, only 4 teams were profitable. You see how Manchester United, how much in shit they
And the
are.
ones on the top were the ones who have the American investors.
I don't know, but Manchester City is the one that's building the new stadium.
Yeah.
They are profitable, but you see, basically, almost every is unprofitable. That's not sustainable. That money is going to run out eventually. So you have to do something to fix it. And if selling it to American to turn it profitable is the way to do it, then that's how you get to keep your football alive, guys. It's not. It's an unfortunate situation, but that's how it is.
People
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah, but
change.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And Zoe, share as much kindness as possible.